A person can jump from one point to the other perfectly. You can tell them to do it 100,000 times and they land perfectly. The second I give them a little bit higher, the same distance, second I give them an edge that's a little bit higher, suddenly they start questioning their abilities. And I tell them, why are you scared? You've already proved to yourself that you can do it on the ground 100,000 times. So now that I added that little bit of fear factor, that's where you kind of see how they have to analyze how much effort they need to put in to overcome that fear. And it doesn't even need to be high enough for you to fall off of something that's high, but it's just that extra push where I kind of challenge you mentally to overcome something that you're.
Just like that, we are here at 212 days.
Amazing. 212 days of A to the show.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's amazing. And today's guest is Amal. Welcome to the show. Let the world know who you are and what you do.
Hello, everybody. Just to give you a little brief introduction about who I am. My name is Amal Murad. I am from the United Arab Emirates. I'm a mother of a 2-year-old, and basically people know me as Leap of Hope, which basically is my Instagram handle because what I do for a living, basically I'm a parkour coach, so I leap for a living, and my name is Amal, which is hope. So there's the pun, but so basically I made the shift from the corporate world almost 5 years ago. I decided to leave my graphic design job to pursue fitness and coaching, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow. So
amazing. Pretty cool.
You do parkour. You're a fitness coach. You're a mom.
There you go.
Seems like a lot on one plate. So how do you manage to keep it all in check?
So there's the trick. You don't, every day is the challenge. And I think, I think it's important to like talk about it being a challenge because people are like, how do you do it all? You don't. There are days you have to compromise time with your child for your job. There are days you have to take up more jobs for the sake of, making a living, providing for your family. So it's fun, but definitely it's a compromise. I think leaving my job or just leaving your job to pursue something you love is still over glamorized to some extent because people don't realize that doing what you love still comes at a cost. And sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's stability, sometimes it's more than just fun,
Yeah,
for sure.
we can relate. My friends laugh when I call this a part-time job. It's crazy.
You never left your job. You didn't have a job.
No, I call this my part-time job. I'm a full-time student, part-time.
I see. Part-time, podcast.
But,
that's pretty cool. So why would so you said a lot of reasons why people don't do the jump. They don't do the leap of hope. Right? They're afraid that if they leave their job and try to do something creative or fun, they might lose the stability they have. Yeah. Right. How are you able to manage that jump?
It's funny because I had this conversation with my husband literally like 3 days ago. I feel it's timing. It's timing. It's timing for sure. I feel like we have to seize timing or like moments in our life where we are able to do things like this. When I left my job, I was a single lady. I still lived at my mom's house. I still had the opportunity to kind of explore in that sense. And like, I consider myself very lucky that I had that support. I was still, I wasn't paying no bills in terms of like home mortgage. Now it's a little different. But I feel like that was why I decided to leap, basically, to take that leap into the unknown because I had the opportunity. I could. It's because I could. And if things were different, if I had to take this jump now with a daughter, I probably would take a second before actually deciding to do that. And I think timing is so relevant. That's why sometimes when I go and actually give talks about this, people are like, I'm scared to leave my job. I was like, why are you scared to leave your job if you have no responsibilities and you live at your parents' house? What is the thing?
Right.
It's because we want luxury. Yeah, we want to have the option of having money whenever, or spending it on whatever we want, wherever we want. And that it comes with a price. You have to end up living with a job that you hate for that. And if you're not willing to do that or take a step in doing something different during that time, then yeah, of course it gets harder. The older you get, the more responsibilities you have, and that's how it is basically.
That's pretty cool. Do you feel the same way about like parkour and like your fitness aspects? Were you willing to take more leaps and more risks when you were younger and had less responsibility versus now? Is it harder?
I think that's why I decided to choose parkour specifically, is because it pushes you to leap. It pushes you to commit to making decisions. I think if it wasn't for parkour, I probably wouldn't have left my job. But there's so much mentally that changes in you, neurologically, if we're talking like scientific. But like it changes the way you think. It changes the way that you make decisions. It changes the way that you trust yourself. And I think I wanted more women to experience that, because as women, we're told our entire life to be careful, to not do things, to think 1,000 times before we end up making decisions. And I feel like to be able to have that courage to like know what you want and go after it, I think it takes practice. And I love that phrase, and that being brave takes practice. You have to practice being brave.
Cool.
Yeah.
And your parkour is your practice? Like you practicing your bravery, practicing, what else do you practice in parkour?
So basically I started with parkour, and then I kind of branched out a little bit and did like personal training. And then I branched out even more, or even actually I branched in. I ended up also taking or getting certified in pregnancy and postpartum, because I felt like as an athlete, when I got pregnant, there wasn't much resources to help women get back to being athletes. I think people tend to think after pregnancy or after postpartum, just go back to fitness and walk on a treadmill or whatever. But I wanted to get back to a sport, and I feel like we don't have enough people talking about what if this person is a full-time athlete and she wants to go back to doing the crazy stunts, doing all of that, and how you maneuver basically a woman's life and all the changes that happen to a woman's body, and going back to something like
psychologically
parkour.
speaking, as after postpartum, you become more protective, not just of your baby, but of yourself as well.
Yes.
Because a mother has to put herself in a situation where,
is this worth it?
Is this worth it? Like, I might not be able to
Yeah.
make this jump, therefore not be able to take care of my own. And that just makes your leap much harder than it used to be, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? Talk to me a little about that.
It's totally different. I think, like I told you, neurologically, like the woman's brain literally changes in terms of hormones, chemicals, everything changes once you have your baby. And I could feel that. The second I went back to doing parkour, I'm very much more hesitant. And I think that's also part of me being a coach, where I have to also talk to the person, and like there's always risk versus reward. So is the risk, or does the reward overweigh the risk? And I always have to like remind that person, whoever I'm coaching, even myself, like, yes, there are things that I want to push myself to do, but again, it's always the whole risk versus reward. What will I gain from this? Or what are the possibilities I might lose or get injured or whatever? So it has to be progressed. I think people also think parkour is go and jump. They don't realize is you have to take 1,000 steps before taking that jump. You have to learn how to fall properly. You have to learn how to bail properly if you don't end up committing. So it's not just like, you don't tell someone to take a risk without making sure they're 100% sure before taking that step.
Interesting. Cool. So how did you find out about parkour? Let's go from the very root.
I want to hear more about it.
Amal, yeah. Because I found out about it from video games, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. There you go. I played every single one.
I'm a gamer. So
amazing.
I got you.
Yes.
Amazing. Because I played Assassin's Creed from 1 to Valhalla, which just came out, and I've just finished the game, right? And
so that's goals. Like
I played, and I've always loved the idea of being able to traverse any building, get to a vantage point, and
literally how it began.
Like, I've always wanted to do it. So here's my question. How much of the parkour is real?
It depends on what you mean by real. There are things that are online that are photoshopped. There are things that are online that aren't necessarily true, but you'd be surprised just how much people are capable of doing things that we do not comprehend. Like,
Wow.
it's growing so much as a sport. Keep in mind that the sport's fairly new, especially in the region. I don't think that we're even close to understanding it completely, because we're not gymnastics. We're not a sport that's in the Olympics. We're literally a sport that's born in the streets. So it's literally using the city as your playground. That's how they explain it.
It is literally like
crazy.
It's crazy, yeah. But you found out about it, so same way as we did, through games, and you decided
Through movies. I used to love watching stunt doubles just do their thing. Like, just watching stunt doubles, their process, and then you're like, oh my god, the actor did nothing. Like, it's all the stuff. Like, we don't give credit enough for stunt doubles who actually like do the big stuff. And growing up, I kind of started understanding that, oh my god, people do this for a living. Like, and most of the stunt doubles, although not all, were actually parkour athletes. And even some of them, you can even see them in Wonder Woman and all of that. Like, you can see some of the stunts. They're parkour athletes that I actually respect, and they get them as stunt doubles for the actors. And I think I ended up appreciating it from afar, but in general, we used to do parkour all the time in the neighborhood. What are you saying? We used to play in the neighborhood.
like
run on the ledge or
walls,
jump on
climbing
rocks.
trees. Oh my god, everything. And I think because of that, when I grew up, I graduated from university, I lost so much of my childhood growing up because of this shift of, I need a career, I need something that's sustainable. Okay, but like, I lost the fun part of me. And as a child, I was like curious, and I went out, I did things, I was an athlete. So when I was old enough, my cousin actually, who is the owner of the gym that I work at, opened a gym that teaches indoor parkour. And it was just a start. It was just a place for me to get back into fitness. It wasn't my idea of, I want to be a coach. That was not in the plan at all.
So how did you
especially So I started in classes, and I was the only woman in class. All of the classes had either children, like 16-year-olds. I was 22 at the time. Or like even, they were all men in general. There were no women. And I wanted my friends to come try the sport, but as you know, like, we live in a conservative society, people didn't come to mixed classes, but there weren't any all-lady classes. So it was interesting. Is the better I got at it, the more excited I was to share this with other women, and I couldn't. And I decided that, I was telling my cousin, I want to coach this. I want to get good enough, get certified, and to coach people. And what's interesting about parkour is that you have to get really good at it to coach it, because you have to demonstrate everything. It's not like if you tell someone, jump up and do a backflip, then roll on the bar, they're like, wait, you have to explain it physically.
You gotta do it, right?
You gotta do it. So like,
that's a pretty cool backstory. So you push yourself.
You push yourself. And did you eventually start teaching women, or is that still a dream?
No, I did already. I started almost 4 years ago. Four years ago.
And you had
amazing. That's a pretty cool backstory.
That's pretty cool. It's really great.
Yeah,
good for you. But I guess parkour has a lot to do with fitness than just running around, because the first time I tried it, fell flat on my face. Just saying, right? I was like, okay.
Where'd you try it?
I'll tell you what I did. So in our supermarket, we had a little fence, right? It was a short fence. So I tried to do a Kong, a Donkey Kong. I forgot what it's called.
It's a Kong. It's a Kong vault.
A Kong vault. There you go. I tried to do a Kong vault. Didn't get my legs high enough. Hit the fence.
Oh my god.
Fell on my face. Was like, yep, too fat for parkour, right? That's
so not it. It's just you did a really advanced movement for your first go.
it was listen. I was like, how hard could this be, right? It's just
That's
put
the
your
problem.
legs up.
Right.
It's teaching people to separate ego from actual skill. Like it's everything. Actually, in all sports, just teaching someone to like put their ego aside. Like, oh, I can do this. I'm like, listen, it's not about your ability to do it. It's not your. You don't need to show off with me. You know, I'm your coach. Let's
Right.
take it step by step. You know.
Like literally,
sure.
that's what happened with me. So what I decided to do was I was like, fine, let's go a level down, right? I run up to that fence and I successfully did my first, I don't know what you call it, is when your leg go like this and then
Or
down.
like a speed vault kind of, yeah.
A speed
Or a
vault.
lazy vault.
And the first time I landed,
lazy
bear in mind,
vault.
I was like 13 at the time, right? Assassin's
Hey, it's
Creed
pretty
2
cool.
like just came out and I was like, oh God, now I want to try it with a fucking hood and shit, right? Let's do
I
it.
love that.
And it was great. It felt amazing, right? I felt like
Right.
nothing could stop me. I can get anywhere I
At
wanted.
the top of the world.
Exactly, right? So what was the first parkour move you've ever done?
It's the simple safety vault. That's like my first move. It's the first thing I teach people, how to overcome an obstacle in the safest and easiest way, which is basically you're placing your hand in your leg and you kind of just jolt yourself to the other side. Nothing fancy. I think
see.
people, the first time they come to class, they're like, when are we going to jump? I was like, let's learn how to just overcome stuff firstly on the ground, and then we'll slowly, make it a little bit more advanced.
Okay, and so that was your first ever parkour move, was safety vault.
Safety vault.
I mean, not bad.
Were you always like this brave enough to do all these tricks, or did it take a lot of time to build the confidence to do it?
Definitely took a lot of time. So it's interesting because I feel like my entire life I was always when I was younger I was brave, and then when I got a little bit older I got really afraid. I went from going on rides, suddenly I'm scared of roller coasters, suddenly I'm scared of doing things that are out of my comfort zone. And I feel part of it is because in university I was sitting down a lot behind a computer screen. I did nothing physical. So anything that was like, no, it's okay, I'm not gonna go. But that's why I had to kind of push myself to break free from that. And I feel now more than ever, because I'm a mom, I feel like a lot of things, like Allah yahfadha, my mom, she's also very afraid, very cautious. And I feel like I kind of took a lot from that as well. So I feel like now with my daughter, I'm like, I'm scared she might fall, but I'm like, yalla, go for it, mom, do it, But it's a lot of, I feel it changes you. When you decide to be brave, it makes you, it empowers you in so many different ways. And I feel like taking that step of doing something that scares you is always a good thing.
No,
right.
Very well
you're
said.
talking about the risk versus the reward. The risk, everyone knows what the risks are for parkour, right? You're gonna hurt yourself. The rewards, I mean, you made it like a job out of it, so that became a reward for you. But for most people doing parkour, how's it rewarding?
So every person will have different capabilities, and I think that's why teaching parkour is so difficult. So I teach, like I told you, I teach personal training. I teach also calisthenics, which is body weight training, and I also teach pregnancy postpartum. And what I've learned with parkour is that I've never set up a class that I could follow completely. With other things, I just write on the board and I wait for the person to finish the reps. With parkour, I need to set up 4 or 5 routes, and each person might be able to do one or the other, or some people might not be able to do any of the routes, and I need to create a new route for them. So it's literally taking that person where they are and understanding what their fears are. So you're asking me risk versus reward. I think the reward is overcoming fear. And I think that in itself, feeling that accomplishment of overcoming something you're scared of, really beats the risk to some extent. Like, I'm not telling you to do crazy things, but even you tell someone to just walk over a ledge, or you tell someone to, like, I can give you an example. A person can jump from one point to the other perfectly. You can tell them to do it 100,000 times and they land perfectly. The second I give them a little bit higher, the same distance, Second, I give them an edge that's a little bit higher. Suddenly they start questioning their abilities. And I tell them, why are you scared? You've already proved to yourself that you can do it on the ground 100,000 times. So now that I added that little bit of fear factor, that's where you kind of see how they have to analyze how much effort they need to put in to overcome that fear. And it doesn't even need to be high enough for you to fall off of something that's high, but it's just that extra push where I kind of challenge you mentally to overcome something that you're scared of.
Mm.
Yeah.
Speaking on that, what's the worst damage you've done to yourself doing parkour? I always wanted to know.
Fun story. I broke both bones in my forearm, but fun fact, I was not training. I wish this was a cool story and I tell you I did a triple backflip. I did not. Okay.
Wait, what do you mean both bones in your forearm? As in like.
So do I tell you? So you can see the scar.
Oh wow.
It was
I have it on both sides. So,
Okay.
it was bad. And it was a month before my wedding, if I may add. It was fun times. But it was a freak accident, really. But afterwards, I feel like this was the pivotal point in my life where I had to kind of make a decision. And it shaped me as a coach, because teaching someone who's injured or like even overcoming injury yourself is a whole different ballpark. Like it's different when someone has never been injured before. They tell you, oh, just push yourself. I had to really overcome a lot mentally and physically because I broke my arm. And I feel like now I know better. I know where people's mindset is if they ever got injured, for sure.
Okay. And so you broke your arm and you had to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
Who did you consult people? Did people give you their input, or were you like, this is my decision, mine alone? Just like it's my jump, I jump alone, or I want to know what your mind state was at the time.
Right.
So I was engaged to my husband at the time. Actually, we just got legally married. I don't know if you know the kitab.
Right.
So we basically are legally married, and like the second we're legally married, I break my arm. And it's fun times, but basically what changed in me, and I feel like that's when it pushed me to ask people for help, was that I'm a very independent person. Since childhood, I do everything on my own. I don't need nobody to help me. And then when you get married, suddenly, especially after I broke my arm, suddenly I'm forced to be vulnerable and rely on someone else, which was my husband. And I'm very thankful that he was there at that time, because he kind of basically told me, like, and my husband's like brutally honest. Like, he's not the kind who's gonna like, oh, you're okay. He's like, listen, I married you because you overcame a lot of stuff in your life. And this is one of those things. And it was like a push for me to kind of get stronger, and definitely did not do this leap alone. It's the support of my family, support of my husband. And I think people tend to underestimate just how much it changes you when you have that support system to push you to do things that you thought you'd never be able to do, to be honest.
Well, shout out to all those people who were by your side at your moment of need. It's good to be vulnerable sometimes. Reminds you that you're human, I would say. Either that or a bone coming out of your arm. Either one reminds you that you're human. So you remember, like, be vulnerable.
It's
right?
a very humble experience.
It is. How long did it take for your bone to like fully heal?
So I have plates and screws still inside. I didn't take them off. It's been 4 years.
Wait, you had to get plates and you shattered your bones. You didn't just like crack or fracture.
I want to show you a photo, but I'll send it later. It's fun.
Right.
Okay. No, it wasn't the kind of break where you just put like a cast. It was, I needed plates and screws. It was brutal. But yeah, about that. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. I needed time to heal. I think it's interesting because, again, it's the whole neurological thing. So I think physically, it takes 3 to 6 weeks for your bones to kind of come back together, especially with plates. Maybe worst case scenario, 8 weeks. like with the plates in, but everything else, like range of motion, other than range of motion, but also like fear. I think because I had plates inside and I knew I had plates inside, I felt pain even when there wasn't pain. Sometimes they call it phantom pain. And it's interesting because my mind isn't accepting that there's something that isn't supposed to be there. And I talked to my physiotherapist a lot about this, and he's like, and I told him I want to remove the plates, and he's like, Amal, what if you remove the plates and the pain is still there? And it was interesting because, like, you know how amputees also sometimes still feel pain in places where they've, amputated their legs, their arms.
They
It's
can
the
even
same with
like they have the sensation of closing their fist and stuff.
exactly.
It's yeah.
So he's like, okay, what if you take off the plate and the pain is still there because mentally you've gone through trauma and your brain is sending signals that something's wrong, right?
Mm.
And it's interesting. It's interesting how you have to overcome trauma in so many different ways. And for me, it was going back to training, just normalizing using an arm that probably will not be 100% what it was. And it's accepting that. A lot of people are like, in the beginning, I was Googling, will it ever get back to what it was and all of that, and especially even when I got pregnant, it's the same questions. Will I ever get my body like there's no such thing. And I think we need to accept that you will go through phases, you work with what you have. And I think that's kind of what gave me the closure. It took me a while, to be honest. It took me a year and a half to get to that mental space where I was like, it's okay, I have plates inside my arms, I'll do what I can do. It is what it is,
It is what it is. Exactly. I
Right.
mean, regardless of pregnancy or broken arms and any of that stuff, again, we're human. We get old eventually. We're gonna need wheelchairs or like a
Bodies don't
walking
change. لا
stick.
ان شاء الله مو wheelchair. Inshallah لا. Don't put that in the
I
universe.
accept my fate, whatever it is, right?
I'm
Yeah, right.
training
Just
for a
accept it.
reason, really.
I mean, I'm
Right.
not trading because I accept my fate.
Hey,
I'm just kidding. I'm
that's
just
pretty cool.
kidding.
Right.
But no,
So,
yeah, it's pretty
right.
cool.
You gotta
Yeah.
accept what you have. I just want to know. So you said like the people around you were supportive. That's awesome. Whereas there, like, were there people that weren't supportive? Like you're running around UAE, jumping over things. Do you ever get in trouble for doing any of it? Or
Yes, for
right?
sure.
How so?
I
Tell us.
remember
Yeah.
it was such a funny story. I remember once one of the news station posted, it wasn't even here. The video that they posted wasn't even a person that was here. But it's the representation of parkour in media, which is the problem. Because you have extremes. You have people who are just practicing on the streets, and then you have people going on rooftops. And we have a little it's called roof culture.
Right.
And like the person who is on the roof is kind of ruining it for us who are on the streets, because like it's a different culture. It's like
Right.
and I feel like we have to understand, especially in the place that we're in, there's not sensitivities in that sense, but I would never in my life want to give out the message that I'm a rebel, no matter what. And I want that to be put out there, especially that I have a daughter. I want my daughter to be able to pursue her sport or whatever she wants, basically, and have so much passion for it that she wins people over. And I feel like that's what I've been trying to do with parkour, where I had people at the beginning of my career be like, I never want my daughter to think that she should run in the neighborhood. I was like, this is why I started coaching all lady classes. I don't want your daughter to be running outside in the neighborhood. She can practice what she wants in a closed, private environment. And I think giving girls the opportunity to do that is so important for them to just explore different sports, different fields. And at the end, like after a couple of years, the same girl came back to me and she's like, I want my daughter to enroll in some of your classes. And I feel like for me, I was like, oh, what? Let me reread your conversation 3 years ago. But it was nice to see, because I feel like when you give out that impression where I'm doing this as I'm serious about my career, I'm doing this to help women's mental and physical basically health, and that I want to be able to let women experience these things, suddenly people were like, yeah, oh, maybe she has a point. Maybe it isn't about, the crazy stunts. Maybe it's about learning how to move your body. And I feel, again, it's the way that you give out that energy. And it's important. Social media is like a double-edged sword, like they say. It's either you're extreme or you kind of find a way to find that perfect sweet spot, I think.
Yeah.
Right. The things that go viral mostly are the extreme ones, though. The ones that I've seen on like YouTube.
That is exactly why I don't have 1 million followers.
Right. But it's like, as you say, it's a double-edged sword. It's like, do you need that? Right. But it's like, do you think of like pushing it a little farther than what you've been doing sometimes and you hold yourself back?
I think it depends on, like, sometimes I do some things and I get a lot of, backlash. And I feel like sometimes I have to remind myself that I have kids that are following me. So even I had some, let's say, what do you call? Like fizzy drinks come up to me for like a commercial or whatever it is, or energy drinks. And sometimes like, I'm like, oh my God, I'll get famous or I'll get money. And then I was like, but I have kids. And is it really worth it to be able to put these? Okay. You'd be surprised. I have.
What do you mean?
Think, Ali?
Yeah, you should do it, regardless of if you have kids to follow you or not.
That's the issue. That's the issue. I have so many kids.
Here we go. Kids have parents, do they not?
Okay.
Parents should parent their kids.
I have a daughter that's 2 years old. The things that she can do with a computer that I am not aware of when she's only 2 years old. I think there still has to be a little bit of responsibility from the people on social media. There still has to be. Okay,
that's fine. That's fine. But let's be honest, it's 2% kids, 98% parenting. Really, that's why we don't care about what we put.
With me, no, because I coach also children.
All right,
that's if she coaches children, it's different.
Fine, if you coach them, that's different. That's where you do have a responsibility more than they do, right? But when it comes to social media and advertising, like, what?
I'm not with that though. I'm not with that. Like, I've seen a lot of like. It depends. Like, I don't drink energy drinks to begin with. Like, why would I advertise something? You're a gamer.
Ali wants a link.
Like, if I saw you drinking Red Bull, I'd be like, damn.
Ali wants a discount.
Exactly. Right? So I'm basically influencing you.
Yeah, but that's where the term social media influencer.
That is why that's the problem. I want to be more of a coach than a social media influencer. If I got paid as much. Sure, but like the reason why I feel like, again, it's such a interesting in between, because I've been named a social media influencer, but I never claimed to be. I'm literally a coach. So like the information that you'll find on my page are about fitness, about like how to get fit. It's not like, so look at me, I'm drinking this. It's not like, it's very rarely would you see me do that. Or maybe if I'm like, if I need some money, probably. You never know.
Right. Yeah, fair. Fair.
Like, never say never. That's what they say, Justin Bieber style.
There you go. Right. Never say never. Because if we get an energy drink advertisement, trust me, I'm gonna be drinking that like for the next 20 years. So
it's like I can imagine, like, you'd
no
be just
kids.
like,
so tell me more about your life, huh?
Well,
get all the shots right.
Let me find you somebody. You just
find
wait
us
for
somebody. You know what? I'll definitely do it. This is brought to you by.
Don't sell your soul, Ali. Don't sell your soul.
I won't sell my
your soul, Ali. Yeah.
Unless the price is right. That's all I'm saying. It's that simple.
But everyone has a cost. Yeah, everyone.
Mine is impossible to reach, unfortunately.
It's like, just give me 2 drinks.
Just two energy drinks to shout out.
Just, 2 energy drinks. I'll give you a shout out.
You can take me away.
Like, just give me 2 commercials and I'm good.
That's all I need, honestly. No, I'm kidding. To sell my soul, you'd require around half the money the world contains. Regardless of that fact.
That's a lot of money. All right.
I mean, this is one pure soul, I'm just saying.
For this, I want to know more about parkour. Like, parkour right now, you said it's a kind of a new sport, as you're saying, especially in the Middle East, right? When were the first people doing it in the Middle East?
That's a really tough question. Like, even sometimes when people are like, you're the first female Emirati, I was like, how do you know? Like, maybe that person wasn't on social media. Like they're like, that's why I've never used it myself, because I feel like it's a little obnoxious, but it's your selling point. But at the same time, I feel like I tell people, I'm like, you don't know you're the first. Like, how do you know? Do you have it written on paper? Because like I've seen girls in Egypt and Iran, and like they've been killing it for a very long time. Maybe in the UAE we're very new to that sport, but in the Middle East and the we in the Gulf specifically, I've seen other people do it. Women may not post it on social media because guess what? We're a little bit conservative, but I can't be like I'm the first. There are women who are doing so much.
You're the first to put on social media. How about that?
Probably not.
There you go.
Amazing.
Because you know why I'm saying this is because I had a private account for the longest time and very so I had a private account and then I decided to like make it public. So I was like, nobody knew who the is because
right.
Because I didn't post it on social. Nobody saw me. Nobody knows who I am.
Pretty much, yeah.
Amazing. Right.
So then I decided to go public. So that changes everything suddenly.
How did that? Why did you make that decision though? Like you said, most of these women are usually conservative, but you're not. How did you make that decision?
I made that decision because I wanted girls to see. I wanted girls to see the sport, and I think when I was private, people wouldn't follow. Like people don't know you, won't follow you.
Right.
So for me to be able to introduce people to my world, I needed to take that step, and it's huge for me. It was big, and people are more open. But I came from a generation we couldn't even write our names. We were like,
what do you mean?
we had like Kahilat al-Ain or whatever. Like we had emails that didn't have our names. Even when we were on forums, we didn't post our names. Nothing.
I didn't know that was a thing, but
that
I guess
was a
it
thing.
makes sense.
I'm
How do
almost
you know about
29
this?
years old.
I really don't, to be honest.
So how old are you both?
How old do you think I am?
No, you can't put me on the spot here. We're on a podcast.
You can't put me on the spot.
I mean, it's fine. You can call me old. You can call me young. Either way.
You both look like 22, 23. Are you
Yeah,
not?
you're very
exactly,
close.
exactly.
Yeah.
Bingo, on the spot. 22,
the spot.
21. I'm 22 and he's 21.
Nice.
Pretty
All
much.
right.
So you're telling us
you are in your peak.
Oh, what? It's all downhill.
Weight, probably peak. Anything else? No. Let's be honest.
No, it's like only because I'm 29 almost. So like that
doesn't look good.
Stop it.
Nah,
Stop it.
you surprised me when you said I thought you were 25 or 22.
No.
No. You don't age, which is good.
We growing. But
when you're healthy. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. But
Alhamdulillah.
like I told you, when I was younger, we like as a girl, if someone even knows your name, like not even like your full name, even just Amal. Oh my God, you put your name on social. You have no idea. It was that bad.
I didn't know.
Wait,
that.
what?
We had Flickr. We didn't have Instagram. I don't know if you know Flickr.
No.
Yeah. We didn't have no Instagram. We didn't have none of these apps. We had the computer and there was a website called Flickr. Flickr.
I've heard about it. Right.
What is it?
Oh my God, I'm old, bro. It's like
it's an American image hosting and video hosting service as well as an online community.
Pre-Instagram, pretty much.
Instagram.
It's basically it's pre-Instagram. You used to post photos, and I never remembered. I don't remember them posting videos on Flickr. It was mostly just photos.
What is this?
Welcome to the different world.
What is this here? Let me
Yeah.
share screen so our younger audience know what the fuck this is. Yo, check this shit out, yo. What is it? What is that?
The younger ones, they're like, yeah, look at that.
You have
What?
no idea.
What is that?
And like, you see how people have their photos? We never posted our photos ever. We've never posted our photos.
Right.
We might actually get like into trouble for showing these because this is privately owned, probably. Oh no. We'll see. Probably
Just
blur it.
On them,
Yeah.
We'll blur it out.
But
Safety precautions.
It just shows you guys don't even know what we used to use, but it was a different world back when I was younger. Like posting your face on social media was like, girl, who your parents? Like so.
So
So
how do you feel about who your
I like
parents?
that.
But now that's changed so much because I feel like now literally it's made for young I mean, young girls, but also like young kids, right? Like 12-year-olds are posting
Yeah,
Dude,
bro.
like-
Like
social
I
media.
know 14-year-olds that run a successful clothing line on like Instagram. What is going on
Pretty
with
much.
this
Get
What
younger
is
that
going on?
bread.
generation?
Get that bread.
Right.
I
Like,
swear.
yeah. Shout out to that person. She knows who she is.
Amazing.
But
Right?
Yeah.
it's changing. So I think
Mhm.
like when I first posted my face, I only knew of 2 other girls who were in the sport field or like in fitness in general, who were local and were also pursuing this as a career. Only 2 girls. But now I can name you at least 25. Like, and I think like that shift is amazing because I feel like now people are more open to showing their side of the story, their own narrative, their own truths, and I think that's amazing.
That is amazing.
That's pretty cool. So what's the future of parkour? What's the
What
next
is yeah? What
step
is the
for
future
you?
of parkour looking like?
Right.
Are we gonna get these shoes that help us run across walls faster, or
I think the future, it's so political right now because the FIG, which is a Federation of Gymnastics, are trying to buy out parkour. They kind of succeeded as considering parkour as a gymnastic sport, but the parkour community is still rejecting. So you can even see a hashtag on social media, "We are not gymnastics."
Oh
Because we
wow.
are not. It's
Okay.
literally a hashtag. You can check
when
it out
someone
later.
says gymnastic, I think like rich white
Acrobatic.
girl,
Hey.
very
Doing
elegant,
acrobatics.
and like parkour is for the
Exactly.
streets. Parkour is for the streets. It's all
Pretty
Parkour
much.
about
is
getting
for
around.
freestyle. It's
Yeah.
so like putting the same, like just saying that it's gymnastics changes the whole essence of parkour. And I feel like we still don't know where we are as a sport. I feel like even there were talks to having it in the Olympics,
Mhm.
but it's like interesting, but at the same time you're like, but if we're under the gymnastic federations, are they going to control what we wear? Are they going to control how sport or how tricks are going to be, judged upon? Is it how clean your lines are?
So,
Like with parkour, it wasn't about that, it was about
Yeah.
freestyle. It was about speed. It was about control, but it was mostly expression. And I feel with gymnastics there isn't expression. It's clear cut lines of what you're
Mhm.
supposed to do.
There you go.
here's a
Yeah.
question:
Cool.
what do you wear? Because I'm pretty sure you guys don't wear tights when you do parkour like they do in gymnastics.
Like baggy clothes.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
really baggy.
that's what I assume.
Yeah.
Like a hoodie and like some
Right.
sweatpants, and y'all just
It's hoodie, sweatpants, sneakers. That is what it is. Like
Yeah.
mostly skateboarding sneakers because we need grip. So it's like we're kind of just like chill,
yeah, and they're all
Um,
like tights and
like
Yeah, exactly.
I respect gymnasts so much because it's such a strict sport. Like people
It
don't
is.
understand, like point your toes, even like if you don't point your toes, you have to point it even more than what you're supposed to. Like everything is so clear and strict.
yeah,
And I feel
it's like diamond cutting. You have to be very precise in
Exactly.
the very finest of details. And
detail.
whereas parkour is like Iron Foundry, whatever you get. Let's go with it.
Parkour is just like let's see what we can do. Like let's see where our bodies take us. That's why I entered it, because I'm even personality wise, I'm not the kind. Even when I was a child, as much as my mom wanted me to be like a debutante, I am so not that. I'm very much let's go, let's have fun.
I love that word, debutante. Okay.
I
Fair.
swear.
Well, I'm not too sure about. I like talking to you. I lost track of time. Ali, do you know where
I
we
mean, we're
at?
pretty close on time. We're pretty close on our time, but I mean, it's pretty amazing to meet you, Amal. I just want to know what's the future like for you. We talked about the future.
Yeah.
of the sport.
What's the future
Mhm.
looking for? Amal, Murad.
Wallah, it's an interesting question because I have no idea. Like I'm growing a family now. Things are changing. Every
Fair.
day has been really hard. And just thinking about like taking care of my family, I feel like um, is making me kind of change directions in terms of like career wise. I don't want to just be a coach suddenly. I want to help people. I want to be like a fitness consultant. I want to branch out. I want to do different things. Very recently, I even launched my own merch. Maybe do some sportswear for specific sports.
Amazing. Ooh.
So
Is
it's
there a
like
link out?
entrepreneur-y
You can
a
shout it
little
out.
bit.
We can link in bio.
We're gonna link
There you
all
go.
of this stuff in bio, by the way.
Yeah,
If you guys
exactly.
are interested
Yeah.
in getting some Amal Murad merch, like that you can
Babble.
get that stuff right now.
But, yeah, it's
No, but-
growing. I feel like I'm an entrepreneur now more than I am a coach. Like I even have online programs that people can buy. It's not. I'm trying to branch out because I feel like, you know, my career is very much I have to be there all the time, and I feel like now as a mom I can't physically be there all the time. My life is unpredictable, so I need to find different venues, different ways to make income basically.
I mean, it's good because with change also you'll come up with new ideas and you put the skills that you have. I mean, with coaching you can coach like a gym of people, but when you're online as an entrepreneur you can like teach and
The world
inspire
is your
Everybody.
student.
the world. Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone
Let's
is under
go,
you.
man.
When you're on a podcast, you can share the information with so many people.
Exactly. So
Make
many
sure to
people.
subscribe
So make sure.
for more.
Timestamp? Yep, timestamp, I think.
There we go.
Yep, and just like that, we've hit another episode. Thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed this episode half as much as we did, please do like, subscribe, share. You can go ahead and follow Amal Murad on all her social media. Amal, is there anything you'd like to let the world know? Shout out.
Yeah, I do. Basically, it's my tagline. Just take the leap. That's what I gotta say.
Take the leap.
Amazing.
Leap of hope. Find her on Instagram. Link in the description.
Link in the
below.
description.
How
Take
about
the
that?
leap, subscribe. Take the leap, subscribe.
That's-
You know that 75% of people listening to this aren't subscribed. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So take the leap.
You better subscribe. You better.
Better subscribe, boys and girls.
Heard it here
Thank you for watching another episode. This is usually how we sign out. It's a salute to cover the cab, and peace.
Take to get like the flip.
Oh yeah, this one was like more. I made this video because I like make video, and also I live in Paris. Then put that together. I want to take this video and like. I think about I can do round of factor. Okay, I take video. I can do that. I take video. But I can send you also a strict routine of competition.
Okay.
Right. And
But
it's
I
like
want-
1 minute.
What I want to know is did you practice these jumps like you used to be in a gymnastics team, or is it just?
You know, before that I was like swimmer.